Welcome to Forever Seeking, the Notre Dame Prep Alumni Speaker Series presented by the Forever Saints Alumni Association. I'm Jenny Douglas, the Assistant Director of Annual Giving and Constituent Relations at NDP. As Saints, we are forever seeking. This series features NDP community members who share how their involvement with NDP has impacted their lives and their ongoing search for wisdom, truth, knowledge, justice, and understanding. Today we are joined by NDP alumnus Blair Tushaus, who will be hosting George Prelock, who has taught English at NDP since 2004 and is now the director of the St. Aloysius Gonzaga Program and head varsity football coach. Blair Tushaus graduated from Notre Dame Prep in 2010 and went on to play football at Brigham Young University from 2010 to 2013. He then transferred to Arizona State, where he received his undergraduate degree in business and history. After that, he played for the University of Arizona Wildcats as a starting tight end while he worked on his master's in international security. During that time, the Wildcats were the Pac-12 South champions and played in the Fiesta Bowl. Since then, Blair has coached both high school and college football. From 2018 to present, Blair, alongside his father Kirk and his brother Chase, a 2006 NDP grad, own and operate Tushaus Wealth Management, which is located in Scottsdale and San Diego. Blair has served as the NDP Forever Saints Alumni Association co-chair since 2019, and most recently, he married his lovely wife Desiree in December 2020. Today's podcast is sponsored by Tushaus Wealth Management. Thank you for your continued support of Notre Dame Prep and our alumni programs, and thank you, Blair, for joining us today.
Hello, Notre Dame Prep alumni. I'm Blair Tushaus, and today I am joined by one of the most beloved teachers at Notre Dame Prep, George Prelock. George is the director of the St. Aloysius Gonzaga Program. At Notre Dame Prep, he created the curriculum to help students fill in their educational gaps. Prior to that, he created and implemented a student-centered English curriculum at the sophomore level for 8 years with a focus on world literature, vocabulary development, and writing. Coach Prelock also serves as the head coach for the varsity football team. He's also been in teaching and coaching for 17 years at Notre Dame Prep. Coach Prelock is a 2002 graduate of the University of Vermont. Hey, Coach.
Hey,
how you doing?
I'm doing well. It's good to be here with you.
It is great to have you today. It is truly an honor. It's something that has been in my heart for quite some time, and I'm glad to have you here.
Yeah, I'm happy to see you and spend some time with you today.
Yeah. Well, we're going to have a good time. So, just to begin, I want to start with your teaching career and specifically what brought you to Notre Dame Prep. So, if you'd like to expand on, I know a little bit, but for our audience, what brought you to Notre Dame Prep and kept you here for so long?
Well, actually, when I graduated in 2002, I moved to Arizona the day after my 22nd birthday. Had an English degree, didn't really know what I wanted to do. Actually ended up managing a camera store. I know nothing about photography, so I think I was just good at selling things for people. But what ended up happening was about after a year and a half, kind of figured, what am I doing with my life? Contacted my mom, who's been an educator since I was a little boy. She's currently the provost at the University of Vermont, and she's like, why don't you get into teaching? And so I started looking into it, got my certifications. My father said, where are you going to apply? There's this school that just opened up in the neighborhood. You may want to check it out. And I said, all right. So I drove there, and it was Notre Dame Prep. Actually came in and wore a tie, took out my contacts, put my glasses on, thought it'd make me look smarter. And I walked in, and just to drop off my application, say hi. There was actually someone that was supposed to be getting interviewed. Dave Gonzalez, the current principal, came out, and the person showed up late, and he's like, well, he's like, that's not a good first impression. You have time right now to just talk to you. And he brought me in, talked to me for about 35, 40 minutes, and that had a major impact on me, and I really thought he was a great man. And I actually left the school. I was plotting out all the different schools I was going to go visit. I turned around, went home, told my dad that I found my spot and I'm not going to apply anywhere else, and he told me that was foolish. I put all my eggs in one basket, but looks like after 18 years, I made the right call.
Yeah, well, for all the students, faculty that have known you, you look back on that moment, and it's truly a God thing that, a little thing like that changes our whole Notre Dame Prep history. So we're truly grateful that our former principal, Dave Gonzalez, gave you that chance.
Yes, that's part of what this place is. I'm very blessed to be here, and God definitely sent me here.
Yeah, and just for our viewers, how old were you when you met David Gonzalez?
I was 23 years old.
Yeah.
I had highlights, not the natural highlights that I have right now.
A little instant action or something?
That was I remember Coach Hermie had said, he saw me walk in, he's like, who's this guy with the highlights? And that was Dave. Yeah, that was Dave's big thing. He's like, you're going to have to change your haircut. I'm like, yeah, that's fine. So, but yeah.
Well, yeah, that's great. And, for some of us students, we think, when I met Coach Prelock, he was in his 30s, but what we don't realize is no, they were, I'm 29, you're past that age, or I'm past that age of when, maybe I first met you.
Yeah.
We didn't realize how young you and Elizabeth Capone and some of those people were when we first met them. So I think it encourages people in their 20s or early 20s that you can have impact right away. Moving on, I would like to personally know just a little bit of what is the St. Aloysius Gonzaga Program, and how did you come into that? What made you step into that role?
Yeah, so the St. Aloysius Gonzaga Program is a program that gives students a chance to be successful here at NDP. They have academic promise, but have some educational gaps somewhere throughout their academic career, and it's my job to get them up to speed so that they can actually handle the rigorous curriculum here at NDP. It's something that former president/principal Mr. Gamelik put in place, and he said, I'm going to create this role, please feel free to apply for it. It was something that I thought would be a good thing, and I applied for it. I taught freshmen my first 2 years, and then I taught sophomores for 8 years, and knew how to bring me back to the freshman level, and so it was something new and a new challenge, and it really made me a better teacher because I'm dealing with students that are all different types of learners.
Yeah.
So
you had this teaching position, and in this transition, what was your day-to-day? Did it change drastically? Did it? What's involved now that wasn't?
Yeah. Well, I felt like a new teacher again because I knew the amount of students that were coming in that had a variety of learning strategies and challenges. So I had to differentiate my teaching strategies. I had to really change a lot of things and really plan out. So it was that summer, or that week leading into the summer, which is the first, they have to take summer school. I really was there for about 60, 70 hours, and then that month of summer school I was working a ton of hours to get up to speed, and it was a great thing, especially see that first class in 2014, then graduate in 2018 and walk across that stage, and kids that necessarily probably may not have accepted before actually got a chance and were successful and now had the full high school experience and went on to college.
Yeah, I would like to take a little credit to help you prepare you for that, because I was not necessarily the sharpest tool in the tool shed, but I think all jokes aside, going into Notre Dame Prep, there was those kids, and not having that program, it's something that I sure wish I had. And now that we have it as an alum, I'm very happy we do have it, and not just have it, but have somebody that I couldn't think of a better person to be leading that.
Well, I appreciate
thank
that.
you from the alum.
Thank you for your kind words. It means a lot.
As a senior faculty member, what's the most important thing to know in working with a generation of high school students?
I think the most important thing is to understand that kids are kids, right? They're going to have their challenges. They're still growing. They're trying to find out who they are. I think even from when I taught you to kind of the generation I'm teaching now, they're exposed to so much more. Because of what they have access to at such a young age, the use of technology and everything like that. So you got to understand that because of that, students change, but ultimately you keep in mind that they're still kids, they're still growing. We want to make sure that they're faith-filled and that we want to develop them into kind, caring people that are going to give back.
Yeah. No, I think you hit it there at the end, who want to give back, and I think that's what separates Notre Dame Prep from a lot of schools is we're not just looking at pumping kids out, but pumping the quality of students that want to give back to society, and we see that, I think, through the teachers, because I believe we don't just hire people who just want to teach, but care about the individual in every aspect, especially faith, and I'm sure we'll talk about that here soon.
Yeah, that's one of the things. Actually, when Dave Gonzalez pulled me in, he's like, if we decide to hire you, one thing you need to understand is, no one is probably going to remember the curriculum that you taught them, what story you read. But he's like, they are going to remember how you treated them and how you made them feel. And he's like, that's going to be the most important thing, is building relationships. And I took that to heart. And that's something I always try to do, is build relationships with my students.
The last thing about the program relating to your coaching, has it changed your coaching? Has it maybe just give you a new light? Maybe, I don't know, maybe you can expand on that.
Yeah, it has. Like I said, everyone's a different learner. Same thing on the football field. I mean, coaching really is just teaching. That's all it is. And you got to understand that different student athletes are going to respond to you in different ways. So some that you may need to get on a little bit versus some that you kind of got to put your arm around. More so than that, I'm more of going to put my arm around you. I got the other coaches to do the other stuff.
Do the dirty work.
I mean, when I need to intervene, I will. But ultimately, my major goal is I want the kids to have a great experience. I want them to experience success, and I want them, most importantly, to know that I love and I care for them.
And speaking for the players who have played for you, that I know, we all feel that way. So
that's good.
Thank you.
It's good to hear.
I think now is a good time to kind of change the subject a little bit. A subject that my generation may know a little bit more about, but I think it's a healthy discussion to always talk about our past and more specifically your relationship and your friendship with the late Scot Bemis, and just saying his name gives me goosebumps. Would you expand for those maybe who didn't know Coach Bemis as well as we did? What was your relationship like? Were you guys close friends? How did you come together? Would you expand on that?
Yeah, we were close friends. Actually this coming January, it's going to be his 10-year anniversary of his passing. So he had a major impact. I mean, he like Mr. Gonzalez gave me my break in education. Coach Bemis gave me my break in being able to coach. And same thing, he pulled me in, and I said, I'm interested in coaching. And he pulled me in and said, he didn't ask me one X or O question. He just sat me down and told me about, how do you reach kids? How are you going to handle this situation? What is it that you want to do in terms of ultimately once a player leaves you? And it was all character stuff. It was all building up players, and not necessarily about football. It was about being a good person and making sure you're taking care of people. And that's something I always take in heart. Anytime I interview a coach, that's the big thing for me. I don't really ask X's and O's questions. I can always teach someone that. Right?
Of course.
I can't teach someone how to have good character and be a role model. Right? So that's something that I've carried over. I think about him all the time. I actually still have a picture above my desk of him that one of the students drew of him kissing the trophy. And I actually have a poem that Coach Hermie wrote an email to Ms. Capone and myself and
Nice.
Mr. Rilski after Coach Bemis had passed and we had buried him. And that poem is next to his picture, and I read it at least once a week just as a reminder. So, and
good.
I always think about him before going on the field, and I think about all the times he played pranks on me and made me look foolish, but I miss it.
We're all victims.
Yeah, we were all victims of it,
but,
that's for sure.
Yeah, stepping on the Scot Bemis field is as the head coach. I mean, that must really weigh on your heart. Would you mind just sharing maybe one or two just personal stories that you had with Coach Bemis that maybe we don't know about, or anything that comes to mind?
Yeah, the funny one. My first year of teaching, he said he actually called, and I got a voicemail from a parent who was just absolutely livid and irate with me, and he said, "You need to call me back right now. My child's failing. I haven't heard from you, and call me back at this number and ask for Mr. Roach." And I'm like, I don't even have anyone with the last name Roach, but I'm panicking. So who do I go to? I run downstairs and I go to Bemis's classroom. I'm like, "Coach, I got this kid." He's like, "We're about to go into Thanksgiving break. You don't want that hanging over your head, do you?" And I'm like, no, I don't. And he's like, "I'd take care of that. You're going to get in trouble. This is your first year teaching?" And he's like, "I may not be here, so I'd take care of it." So I go and I call and pick up, and they're like, "Hello, thank you for calling Truly Nolan." And I'm like, just pest control and get rid of Roach. And I'm calm, I'm like, "There's a Mr. Roach that called me," and they're like, "I don't have time for this." I'm like, "No, I'm being serious." And then
You're worried.
and I was still somewhat new to the area. I'm like, "What is the deal?" And then I looked up Truly Nolan, saw what it was, and then Bemis made sure he found me later and was laughing at me.
He did not hold back.
No, he didn't. I mean, between that or me finishing a course that I got an A in and wrote a paper, and then he created a fake email from my professor saying that actually that the book wasn't approved that I wrote about. And I had to reread it and redo the course. And he did the same thing to Coach Hermie, and Coach Hermie was so livid, he was like calling the university and was demanding to talk to. Anyway, Coach Bemis said I was way nicer in my responses than Coach Hermie. But I mean, whatever it was, he was a prankster, and I miss him. And the other times where people really didn't get to see him, but how emotional he was and how he truly cared with his players, and he would open up to him. So
like I said, I speak for all of it. We all miss him, but we're all excited for you and your coaching. A really good coach that I had interacted with when I got into coaching told me, "Don't be Scot Bemis. Don't be, be Blair Tushaus." And what I really appreciate from you is that you honor Scot Bemis. But in no way are you trying to replace him.
No, you
because
can't.
nobody's asking you to do that.
Nor can you.
Yeah.
Nor can you. You just got to, like you said, history is important, legacy is important, and ultimately I'm just a part of NDP's history, and I want to honor those who came before me and try and help out and build for those that are going to keep this place running once I'm gone.
Yeah, well, hopefully you're here for a very long time.
That's the plan.
That's the plan. Don't go running off on us.
That's the plan.
Just tell me, I guess, just a little bit more about your path into football. I mean, from my knowledge, you were never a football coach prior to Notre Dame Prep.
No, this is the only place I've ever taught and coached at.
Yeah. So, I mean, and also my experience is that a lot of the best football coaches I've been around, I mean, they weren't, they were just well connected. They knew how to teach. And obviously, you're a teacher, but you connect with the kids so well. You connected with me as a player, and you had it factor. So if you could just tell me how you got into it and just your career into the head coaching role. You were a JV coach for so many years, and eventually got that opportunity.
Yeah. So Coach Bemis actually started out. He hired me as an assistant JV coach. So I coached receivers, DBs, and I was the special teams coordinator. And Coach Hermie was the head JV coach. That was my first 2 years. And then Coach Hermie ended up moving up to varsity as the O-line, D-line coach. And then he had turned it over to me to be the head coach for JV. My second year as the assistant, Coach Porianda came. And then he was my defensive coordinator, and Coach Poe and I were together from, my second year as assistant. I was 8 years as the JV head coach. He was my defensive coordinator. Then in 2014, took over the freshman.
That's right.
Coach Poe came with me. We added Coach Smith, who's currently my defensive coordinator. And we go way back. And then I was on the freshman level for 3 years. And then the opportunity opened up here and applied and got it. And this will be my 5th year as the head varsity football coach here.
So 17 was the first year of varsity as head coach?
Yes, that was my first year.
Yeah. Wow, time flies,
Yes,
right?
it does.
You're already going in 5th year. So that's amazing. It just seems like yesterday and you guys are our JV coach, and to see you progress, definitely happy for you. So, leading in my next question, having gone through, we won 2 state championships under Scot Bemis, and now having gone through 2 state championships of your own, unfortunately, not being able to get the results we as a community wanted. How, as a head coach, you've taken those losses and developed and grown the team and program?
Yeah. Well, first thing I figured was avoid Centennial. So, but we'll get our shot at them one time. But it was a learning lesson. Part of it was once you wanted it something so bad, right? And it hurt. It did, losing those 2. And it wasn't because, everyone wants to win. As a competitor, you want to win. But when I go out there, I feel like I am representing, these kids, right? It's on me to make sure they have a good experience. The community. I'm trying to get for the community. Not for me, not for anything else. And so it did hurt. But what it did was it motivated me, right? I went and put in the extra hours, and I was already putting in multiple hours, but you're trying to do more. And then we go back again, and I'm like, okay, this is what I learned from that time, and we're gonna make the adjustment. And then for it to happen again, you go back and you go back to the drawing board, and you keep trying to persevere, right? You show that mental toughness and show that part of it all is, in enjoying it, is going through the process of it.
Definitely.
Whether you win or lose, at the end of every season, I end up bursting into tears because, for one, you're sad to see seniors go. Of course. Right? You're sad that the season's over, and that team is only going to be that team for that year. And so you use that as a motivating factor. And you learn from it, and there are plays where I was like, I probably shouldn't have called that, but you continue to learn, grow, and develop, and work hard.
Let's remind the viewers of what Coach Bemis's vision was, and it wasn't to win a bunch of, at the time, 4A2, that was part of the process. It was winning those so we can play the Brophies, Chaparral, Saguaros, Centennials, and I'm a competitor. You're a competitor. And I'm happy to see us playing the Centennials of the state. If we get beat, let the best team win. But you know what? I'm happy to see that was his vision, and you're taking it there. That makes me very happy. In addition, coming across some of your players at various gyms and whatnot, the way they hold their accountability, respect, and they don't know I'm a former player, but I just see a few. I see how they interact, and take the scores out of it. I can tell you're teaching them how to be young men. So it's more than just the number on the scoreboard.
Sure is.
You're killing it on the field, but I want to give you props. You're you're definitely leading these young men. So
Thank you. Thank you. It means a lot.
We're proud of that. So
Thank you.
big thing for all of us here is our faith.
Right.
I think the school does a great job of implementing in the faith in whatever we do. And so my question for you is, how do you keep your faith in the forefront of such a competitive program?
Right.
And sometimes as competitors, we lose sight of what truly is first. And
Right.
And I'd be curious to know, I see the men, but I don't see you day to day with them.
Right.
What are you doing to keep their faith first and
Right.
well, I
priorities?
think
The most powerful thing is obviously prayer, right? So it is our custom before every practice. We pray at the end of practice. I'll talk to the team. My coaches will talk to the team, and then we end in prayer. Talk about intentions and things that are going on. And then before games, after the captains go out and they do the coin toss and everything like that, they come in and we do one final Hail Mary, and then we go out there, and at the end of the games, it's the same thing. We want to make sure, we are a Catholic school, right? And we want their relationship to grow with God, and even more importantly, we want them to be able to show their spirituality to everyone and to the community, and be a faith-filled person that's going to go make a difference. So we talk about how our actions at school, specifically in the classroom, as great as it is to be a football player, you're under a microscope, both good and bad, right?
Yeah.
So
more the bad than the good.
Yeah. So you'd be the first, but at the same time, I tell the boys, you really have an opportunity to make a positive impact on the community.
Yeah.
And really look out for people that need help, and that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to be a leader, and that's what it's supposed to be like: faith-filled, care about others, and live that faith by helping others. Because I'm a big believer in that. That's what got me into teaching and coaching. You want to have a positive impact.
Yeah, it's just reiterating. Sometimes, like I say, we just lose that sight of what is the top priority.
Right.
At the end of the day, football is just a game, but we can use it as such a great tool to lead people to Christ. And big thing in my life is grace, extending grace. And I never thought how do you extend grace on a football field? Is in coaching, giving the encouragement to kids. And I've always seen that. I didn't know at the time, but I've seen that in your coaching of you don't kick a kid off or down him just because he messed up, and you extend that it's okay, you're going to be good, you just don't know it yet.
Right.
So it's a hard thing as us competitors. It's easy to just I just want to win, but Notre Dame Prep is different. I respect the other schools, but we're different.
Yeah.
And we put faith first, and so that's one of the many things that makes me proud to come from this program. So
absolutely.
I talked a little bit about the program, the struggles, the current state, but I'm now curious, what's the vision for the future? I mean, you guys got buildings going up. I'm in a room that I don't think I've ever been in.
Right.
Like, where am I?
Yeah.
But, I never got to play on that field. I didn't think that field would come until I had kids. So obviously the future is here, and it's coming at us a lot faster than I thought. So what's your vision for the future, the program? Where do we go from here?
I think we continue to grow as a community. We have one of our highest freshman class enrollments, I think, ever coming in.
Nice.
We're at, I think, around 255 plus now. So that's outstanding. And that talks about all the great individuals that we have here. We have a bunch of outstanding teachers, administration, staff. I mean, we are a true community here, and that sells itself. So I think that attracts people. I think the faith-filled, obviously, is important to people. Having a higher standard in terms of academics, and there's a sense of accountability, and I think that draws people here. And I think we keep growing. And how do you do that? You do that by having a great experience. And that's what it comes down to. We continue to have our students have a great experience, our families have a great experience, it's the best way for word to spread. That's the best type of advertisement you can have.
Referrals and good experiences, just like you said. Yeah. It's just, it's funny. I had somebody come up to me the other day and say, "You went to Notre Dame Prep, that powerhouse?" And it's like, Notre Dame Prep's a powerhouse? And I had to reflect because I've been around since day one.
Right.
And nobody called us a powerhouse.
No,
not by...
No. Our first year of varsity football was my first year teaching. We weren't even, it was us, Basha, Sandra Day O'Connor.
Those were the new schools,
and
right?
there was one other school, I can't remember, but we were the four new schools. Yeah. And what ended up happening was, we had our own little playoff at the end, but we won one game that year, and it was in Chinley.
That's
right. And the bus broke down. We went through our growing pains. That first year there was one win. Second year of varsity, there were 3 wins. The third year of varsity, we had 6 wins, and then 13 wins your sophomore year, and win the state championship.
And undefeated the next.
And then undefeated the next.
Yeah, looking back, it was great coaches and teachers that, it's not just the football program, it was the school raising the bar. Yeah. And, can the bar be risen any further? Yeah, it can. It can. There's always... Bronco Mendenhall, when I played at BYU, he'd wash a towel, soak it, and he'd give it to a player, and he said, squeeze it dry. All this water drips, and then he's like, is all the water out of there? And give it to the next guy. You get a few more drops, and just kept passing around, and it's just like, get that 1% better. We made some big jumps in the beginning, but now I see those not last drops, but the program squeeze. Let's get a little bit better each and every day, and I can see that, and I'm like I say, I'm proud to see it, because if not that way, there's only one other direction to go, and that's a direction I don't want our program going in, even looking at. Anyways, we like to end this podcast with a question that basically, I'm trying to figure out how to word this. In keeping the name of the podcast, which is Forever Seeking, what is something in your life that you are forever seeking, constantly pursuing, that is close to you? And then also, what saint would you say possesses that value and you keep close to yourself?
I'm forever seeking to just continue to get better as a person. I have my flaws, and like everyone, but I want to get better as a person, get better as a teacher, get better as a coach, as a father, and really just have a positive and lasting impact on lives that I've already come across and lives that I've yet to come across. But that I'm forever seeking to have a positive impact and have people have a great experience. That's what I'm forever seeking, and I want to make sure that I'm touching people in their hearts and souls, and something that they're gonna remember, be like, you know what, I could trust him and I can depend on him. So I'm forever seeking to get better, forever seeking to have relationships that thrive.
Nice. I like that. And in regards to the saint, I may. Well, go ahead.
Well, the saint, it's tough because first off, so many. The furthest thing from a saint, but a saint that I see all that, it's all of them, right? And you see a lot of these saints, especially, they didn't start off perfect either. A lot of them went through their trials and tribulations, but ultimately, what they all did, which I think as an educator in general, whether you're at a Catholic school or not, is, sacrificing for others, right? Whether it be Mother Teresa, helping the poor, right? Maximilian Kolbe, sacrificing himself at the camp so others' lives were spared to, I'm the head of House of St. George. He literally was asked to give up, deny his faith and persecute Christians, and he refused to and knew he was going to die.
Was that a coincidence to St. George?
That was a coincidence. Don't let anyone tell you about that. We actually had 4. We had the 5th pick, so just so happens St. George fell.
Okay, all right. Wasn't St. Roach or?
No.
Well, one last thing. I know, I would like to personally know the St. Aloysius.
Yes.
Okay. For the viewers, I've had, hard time saying that, but I think I got it down.
Yeah.
Would you just mind explaining so people know a little bit why was the Gonzaga program named after that particular saint?
Right. So St. Aloysius Gonzaga is the patron saint of teenagers.
Okay.
And specifically learning. And then also on top of it, it was a ring, and everyone knows the university, right? Basketball Gonzaga. So it was a ring to say, it's something that helped attract, and but ultimately it also fit because he is the patron saint. He helps teenagers and helping them grow and develop.
Awesome.
So
I think that's important for all of us to know, including myself.
Yes.
I should know. But ultimately, I just want to thank you for your time to be here. You're a very busy man. I want to thank you for the time you've invested into all students, athletes, teachers. We truly appreciate you. We love you, and we're all here to support you. So thank you for joining our Forever Speaking podcast.
I appreciate you guys. I love all you guys, my current students, former students, and everyone that I've just been privileged to work with. This is my home, and I love everyone, and I really appreciate it. I'm very humbled by all of this, so thank you.
No, thank you. Thanks for joining us, and check out the podcast on YouTube or Spotify. And thank you, George. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Blair. Good seeing you.
Good seeing you too.
Thank you, George and Blair, for joining us for this episode of Forever Seeking. I would like to encourage all of our alumni to stay connected with us at ndpsaints.org/alumni/stay-connected. Thank you again to Tushaus Wealth Management for sponsoring this episode of Forever Seeking. We invite you to subscribe to Notre Dame Prep on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts, and watch for our next episode coming soon.